think I received anything. I apologize, the power went out and then the emails went down on my system, so I didn't have a chance to get them updated. I have to come back in to take care of that, so I haven't seen my emails in case anybody wanted something added to the agenda. But general discussion will actually cover that. I think we'll be fine with it. So I'm just going to go around the table, and I'm going to start on this side. I think I usually start with you, so I'm going to go this way today. So.
Okay, I got a few things. The ballot initiative, where are we now? Do we have a draft, or have we considered what we're going to ask for, anything like that?
Honestly, I don't think we got there, Jim. We've been dealing with other things, so I think that before the council, do you think we can put something together and get everybody to review it? Maybe can you get something out in the next day or two and then send it out? Once we critique it a little bit, and then Gabe and them would like to see it long before we get there.
Yeah.
I thought that's what you were
Gabe, I did have a brief conversation with County Clerk Gabe Sumi, and she did say that both her office and the County Attorney's office will want to review that before any actions taken by the city on it. So
yeah, that's fine.
So that's the first thing I need.
Could you just give us the last time we did this? Could you just give us what that said on the ballot?
I think I can find that. Yes.
And we can massage it however we want to.
That'd be great.
So we'll put that on the agenda for the 23rd?
For the council meeting, yes.
Mary, where do you stand on justification for this ballot issue? Have you guys thought about how we're going to sell these streets?
Excuse me. We've got some PowerPoint organized. Actually, what we were talking about doing, we're going to leave the numbers pretty much to you in finance. We actually are putting together pictures of the problems that exist out there with the roads, with a little kind of background of this is what it looks like, at this age, and this is what we do, and then this is what it looks like. We've got some pictures of why we chemical route, that type of thing. So that's kind of where we are on that. We're going to do more of the, we were thinking more of the visual. Dave Whitaker, the engineer, has some, and he's got all these charts and everything. We can add whatever you want of that. The committee's recommendation was for us to just kind of keep it simple and pretty basic, because when you look at these pictures, I think it gives you a whole idea of what's going on out there and cost of it. And what we have a percentage of how many students are this age, how many are this age, and how many are this age. And so anyway, but
we're going to have some really exciting spreadsheets.
Are you?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's exciting. Yeah. Are they going to be color coded or anything?
They probably will not be. No, they'll just be really exciting.
Yeah.
What I want to do is make sure that if you guys have any numbers, we dovetail those numbers to make sure that we're talking the same thing. That's all.
Right. These are the both. Yeah. There's a lot of the charts that are kind of dated. We asked Dave to kind of update those, but again, we were kind of under the impression that the visual aspect, once you see it and you look at it, and we were kind of going to go that way, leaving the numbers to you of why this is important for you to vote for.
All right. Well, we'll have a preliminary ready then for the 23rd meeting, the meeting on the 23rd. I understand it's way early, but this might take a while to get all this done.
Okay. So what do you want from me? Because ours will be a PowerPoint basically.
You got that? Just if you can email it to me, and I'll just look at it and make sure that we can.
Well, I got all the pictures. I don't have it in an organized fashion yet. We're just gathering the pictures to do it. But I can forward what I have to you, and you can look at them and see.
All right. Well, I tell you, my part is pretty easy because it's pretty much already done.
Okay.
I mean, it's just a matter of justifying what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Basically, we're not raising any taxes. What we're doing is trying to replace the tax we're going to lose.
Right.
So it's pretty simple to do.
Okay.
All right. Spiking, have we heard anything from CERS?
We have not. And again, they have, in theory, they could take months to find out. Or 6 months. Yeah, the longer it takes them, I'm not worried about it, and I didn't think we should want to call them either. If they take 9 months, they take 9 months. It kind of messes with us. I mean, not knowing is another bit of a challenge, but the longer it takes for them to send us something, the happier I am. I mean,
where do we stand on the replacement for the accounting? Have you made
I haven't got there yet, Jim, no. Last lady I had was I don't know if I told you she had medical issues. So, now that things are starting to settle back down, that'll go to actually more to the front of the list.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you contact that name I gave you by any chance? I'll talk to you afterwards.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, yes, I did.
You did?
He said his wife would kill him.
So?
I wouldn't worry about it either.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yes,
Oh, so that means no.
yes, that was a no.
We consider maybe an intern until we can find somebody. I mean, have we considered maybe,
Wow, one of the challenges with an intern is how much governmental accounting do they have and stuff like that. I mean, they might, I don't know. You
I'm
know,
afraid by the time we taught that person what's going on,
okay,
they could
it
go.
would be
Yeah.
time to go.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I contact Crescent Springs? They have some people that work.
No, that'd be great.
Um,
Thank you.
On the audit report, we kind of promised some things. The first thing was the updated job descriptions, which apparently I've received tonight. So we got 2 more to go, and then we're done?
On the job descriptions?
Yeah, I'm sorry, job description.
Yeah, basically, we have everything, we have the ones for officers ready as well, but we thought since we're gonna be so close to bringing a new chief on board, we thought we'd go ahead and run it by them before that. If you guys would like to see them, I don't think they're in here, correct?
Yeah, the officers and specialists is not.
But everything else is in here?
Everything else for the current positions we have are in there.
Okay. Personnel evaluation criteria, we're supposed to be revising that. Has that been done?
Now that these have been basically done, then those will come, a follow-up, a big dovetail off of that.
Timesheet approval and documentation of hours worked, have we changed that?
That was changed long before,
All right, so we've
that's
got-
done, yes.
All right,
We're, to the best of my knowledge, we have everything in place to make sure that that's taken care of
okay.
as effectively as we can.
Budget for next year, when are we going to start talking about that?
Anytime. I owe you an email, and just an email back with some recommendations and things I want to see changed. I started to get on the spreadsheet, and I said, no, I just want to make them on a separate sheet, let them send them to you, because otherwise, I honestly don't know how that Excel spreadsheet interacts.
It's not complicated, it's just linked, so don't destroy the leaks.
That's what I mean, so I'd rather just send you a list of things I'd like to see changed, and, you know,
Okay.
because that way, if I change an hourly rate or something and screw up the FICA or whatever, I really didn't want to do that.
Okay.
I hopefully will have that in the next couple of days for you.
Okay.
So by this council meeting, next council meeting, we should have a draft of what I'm looking at, is the goal. If Jim's able to help us put it together by then, which probably won't take him too long.
No, it won't take very long. I have a budget from the fire authority, and it is an increase, a substantial increase of $70,000, $20,000 for fire, and $50,000 for ALS. I would like to invite the fire chief here for the meeting on the 23rd to explain the rationale for that increase.
20 for fire and 50 for ambulance? Or
20 for fire, 50 ALS specifically, not BLS.
Okay.
So, I mean, we did save a lot of money when we went to this, but if we're gonna be looking at 50,000 a year increases, we're not gonna save money for very long. So,
Actually, Rick, we won't say, if this 50,000 will put us probably close to where we were, if not over.
Pretty much.
Is this 50, is
Yeah.
this 50,000 our 60% piece of it, or is this?
30,000 is our piece, which
So in other words,
will
these
be
aren't,
called into question because of the increase.
so they're asking for a full 70 from both cities. This is
Correct.
not our,
Correct.
I just want to confirm, that way everybody understands it. So
Is
ours,
it
is-
35, 30?
no, ours would look at,
I've got the breakdown. It has not been approved yet by the fire authority. Rod should be making this report, but I have the details. I can send this to you if you want to look at it. And it's not complete, it's not in their final form. We did start a we have a new finance committee at the fire authority, which is meeting tomorrow night. So hopefully we can vet this and maybe give the chief a little bit of feedback.
Does that have a breakdown, Jim, of where all the money's going?
It does. It's
Right, can we
basically,
make copies of that? I'd like to see that.
we can do that, can we just email it out to you? Would you mind?
Oh, okay.
Do you wanna wait until they finalize it before, or?
Because that's
Well, I was
preliminary.
just trying to get an idea of where they're going.
Yeah, go ahead, that's fine. If you wanna go Xerox it real quick, that's fine, I don't care. As long as Jim doesn't mind it.
No, I don't.
Right on the front of the draft or incomplete or something, so nobody doesn't think that it's, if it's not already on there. Because the last thing I wanna do is somebody to think that those are the real numbers and they're not completed.
Yeah, you might wanna put draft on there.
Please.
Thanks, Craig. Can I invite the chief?
Oh, yes, please, that's fine. Yes, thank you.
Final thing I have is on the finance committee. At the last meeting, the recommendation was made that we put bills for payment and/or cash disbursements on the website. There was concern that we do that so that we would take names off of it. The finance committee is willing to vet that and to submit it back to the mayor for approval before it's put on the website. Is that a problem for anybody? In other words, we'd either redact it or simply, we wouldn't take the line off of it because then it wouldn't foot, but we'd have, we'd probably redact the name that's on there, if there are any names. And we wouldn't redact the name of the people that rent the space to us in Crescent Springs because that's the vendor.
That's a vendor. No, we're
But
talking
if
about the
it's an
medical stuff.
employee
That's,
or any kind of medical, we'll take the names off.
I have to say that looking at the detail, GL, that I don't have a problem with it because it does not appear, from what I've seen, that names are listed. So I have no problem with it.
Well, the
They
names are
listed
listed.
on the bills for payment.
Oh, okay. Well, then, as long as you just
Well, that's what I was gonna do. We'll redact it.
redact it.
And we'll send it to the mayor for approval before it goes to the website. If nobody has a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with it.
And that's all I have.
anybody have any questions or thoughts? Thank you. Ms. Howell?
Recreation, Friday, the 25th and 26th, we're having our citywide yard sale. The signs are out, I'd like to add some balloons to them. Some helium balloons that cost $1 a piece.
Thanks, Chris.
She knows I'm ignoring her on purpose. I'm sure we can do that.
And I'm gonna be so excited. Well, and then, the 5K run, all the road closures are on the website for the May 17th. Does it start at 9 in the morning?
I think it starts earlier than that. doesn't it?
8.
Yeah.
8 o'clock.
Thank you.
That'll be going on. And then June, we have the bike rodeo from 9 to 11. I included that in recreation. I know it's safety, I'm sorry.
Okay, but you're not sure what the date is yet.
No, it's the Wednesday the 4th, June the 4th. And the rain date,
Definitely?
the rain date is the
June
6th. July, the 22nd, we're gonna have city night at the Florence Freedom. You can start arriving there at 5:30. The game starts at 6:30. And it's $8 for the ticket. And then I was gonna ask you if we could maybe give them like a $2 food voucher or something, or if we could order some koozie cups or something to give them a memory of this exciting evening out with the city.
I think we can probably figure out something.
Okay, that's good.
I got a box of pens.
Okay,
Regular big pens.
that's a Tuesday night, so it fits everyone's schedule here.
Tuesday night.
So all members can attend.
I guess I won't say.
No, no. The 22nd is the fourth, third, Tuesday of the
I'm
month.
sorry, July 22nd, June 22nd, what's?
July.
July 22nd.
Sorry.
Don't worry, I planned this so you all can't get out of this. Excitement. And then Saturday, we're gonna have a co-ed golf outing at DeVue that starts at 10 o'clock in the morning.
On Saturday, July the 26th
No, Saturday the 2nd,
of,
August the
Oh.
2nd.
I missed that, I'm sorry.
It's $40. And it's,
What'd you say?
includes 18 holes of golf and the cart. And And there'll be some food and beverages included in
Now, did you say that's a co-ed?
that. Co-ed. And the Women's Golf League, I'm still taking sign-ups. If anybody's interested, you can go to the website and then email me or call me. And we're in touch with the skate rink down in Crescent Springs to have a city day, like in the summertime when it's hot. But they're very difficult.
Really?
And the Reds night, that's still a negotiation.
Okey-dokey. Thoughts, comments? I thought, you finished, I'm sorry, you sounded like you were wrapping it up.
No, I am for the fun and festivities. Now,
Okay.
if you want to talk about Rigney Park or the dirt, the weeds, the adopt-a-pod plant, which I have no pods, I need to be able to buy pods for the adopt-a-pod,
What is that?
you know, that kind of thing. To put the big pods, nice, attractive features in the city.
Don't know anything, don't know what you're talking about, so you'll have to fill me in when we get a chance.
Oh,
You can
were
fill
you
me
here
in.
last meeting? Maybe not.
You mentioned it, but I had no idea what
Oh.
it is. Maybe I missed it, did I? Or
No.
there's not a lot of detail.
No, I think Holly just touched on it last.
Maybe you mentioned it at your, but I don't know the details and stuff,
Oh,
so.
well, people can adopt a pot
Mhm.
and take care of it, or, you know, I mean, if they, you know, we can get like a little thing, a little adoption paper, and then they can adopt a pot to take care of it with plants and flowers in it.
And where are we thinking of putting these?
Well, I need to call Duke yet to see if we can even do a hanging pot from some of the, like, street lights. Thanks, Mary.
Okay?
That'd be nice.
Oh, it'd be beautiful, yeah, I can get it.
And then, I still wanna get a stationary event sign. But I'm gonna have to call the state to see if that one area where I wanna put it is, if we can do that there.
What kind of stationary sign are you talking about?
I think I brought it up a couple times. It's similar to Park Hills, I don't know, you're not.
Oh, okay, yeah. So,
It's got the wood post, something cut out here, and then down here you would put the hooks, and then you have the events that are going on, and then put our information here where they can contact to get further. But like this would say, yard sale, this would say Reds game, you know, whatever we're gonna be doing, then they can contact the city to
Check
find
the
out the
website,
rest of
whatever.
it. But these, we could just keep switching off and on, they just hook on, and they stay there until that event's over, and then we move forward. I think I drew another one. I'm hating
You guys see that or
this.
understand what she's saying? Just so
Like
you know.
this. See, like welcome to Villa Hills, have a logo, and here's our event board, and then we'll have our city information here, and then, you know, what we're doing,
Okay.
but something
Where
like
would
that.
that go? Where would you put
I
something?
wanted to put it across from the city sign, the entrance sign, in that area where Blevins and Barlinghouse now stand, their
Okay.
signs are. But right there in that little corner spot, which is, I think, state-owned.
No, I think Mr. Summy owns that.
Mr. Summy owns all the way to the sidewalk?
I believe he does. Now, we need to double check it.
Well, that's what I have to find out about that area.
Yeah, pretty sure anybody has, they have to go to him to ask for permission
Okay.
for signs and stuff.
Well, he won't agree to that, but, so
But
we
anyway,
need to
something to-
find
But we can look at it, check.
spot.
I mean, let's double check. I could be wrong. Should be pretty easy to pull up on the website, shouldn't it? Yeah.
Because I know there's a sewer thing there too, you know, there's a big sewer.
Yeah, but there
So
might be
there
right-
might be an easement somewhere.
There might be a right of way.
Aesthetically, what do you think of two signs coming into Villa Hills? Like, we're gonna have a sign on the left and a sign on the right?
Well, where else you want to put it?
I'm talking out loud, the existing sign now, can we do some type of LED screen sign above there? Or,
You know,
I mean,
this
I
is like a
can
small
change it with the
town.
computer.
You know, we're still,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I want that homey, close community kind of feel. I don't want like big city looking. And the thing about putting things on Crescent Springs scroll sign is you only get 2 words and then you're past it. basically.
Some of us drive the speed limit, so we need to take that.
Well, there you go, you got a point there. I don't know, I mean, this is just a suggestion from Parks and Rec,
Mhm.
and basically me,
I think
that
that-
we do something like that.
I think we need to continue to massage it, come up with an
Yeah.
idea that we can work out with it. I'm
We
not
could put some
opposed to
potted
something like
plants
that.
or something on the side,
Okay,
beautification, and then, now, I think it's ministration now out here in front, bushes,
where?
out in front of this building, am I wrong? Is that
No clue.
administration? Okay. Then Brian's gonna talk about that.
Okay.
That's it.
Anything else? Thank you.
No, I haven't spent that much money.
I know, because I won't let you.
Uh,
You leave me voicemails, I don't get any of it, by the way.
Is it my phone? Is it that waterproof case? I must be on from that.
But you called, by the way, and talked about Christmas Springs, I have no idea what you said. So we'll
Oh, yeah,
talk
we
after
didn't
the
want
meeting.
that.
Okay. Any questions? Sir?
I have no updates. I'm here for Todd. He's in Atlanta, so I'm covering on a variety of different issues, so. That's not bad.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, on this.
Uh,
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I do actually have a few things. As Mr. Cahill mentioned, you do have draft copies of the job descriptions for all the positions that we currently have in the city, except for police officer and police specialist. These are still being worked on, so if you see something in there, please let us know. The goal would be to have these approved, and per the personnel policies, they go through the mayor, and just have these finalized. And then from there, we will take the essential job duties and turn those into performance evaluation tool, and then come back with a separate set of performance evaluations. Every position in the city will have its own performance evaluation form that will be different based on the positions. And so we'll tie them all back to the job descriptions, and the goal is to have those complete very quickly after this process is done, so then we could do performance evaluations before the start of the new fiscal year. And so that's where this is on this, and that's the next project for HR. I've also started meeting weekly with the department heads. We have a weekly meeting on Tuesdays where we just kind of talk amongst ourselves and kind of update each of the departments on what we've all been doing. I think a lot of times we've kind of had an idea of what the other departments were doing, but we never had FaceTime. And so now we actually are sitting down and talking, having FaceTime, and we spent a lot of time on our first meeting together actually talking about the 5K race and the coordination between the different departments on getting that accomplished. And also went over job descriptions with the department head, with the officer in charge and Buck, the department head, and have those. So I think we're moving forward, and hopefully that'll open up a new way of communication and new back and forth, and we'll be able to coordinate even better than we have in the past.
Who should we email questions to? You, Mayor, you, and copy Mayor?
That would be good, yes.
Okay.
Please,
great.
thanks.
That's all I have.
I don't have much. I guess I just got a couple of questions. With the chief's position, are we still taking application, or is the deadline passed?
The deadline's passed, I'll bring you an update on my report, so I'll
Oh.
give you all the details. Now, that's a good question.
Very good.
Matter of
I
fact,
had a couple of questions. If you're going to answer, if there's no reason for me to.
no.
That's pretty much all I got.
I'll go ahead and fill you in then.
The bush, the dirt bushes down here.
Out front?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll just make that happen.
Well, I thought you have to ask the mayor.
You gotta get money. No doubt.
We'll
Well,
just make it happen.
and if you want, they should be getting, Public Works should be getting some dirt if you need, because I know a lot of it is
Yeah,
washed
sure.
away, so
Bring it up
if
and take a
that's,
look.
if that helps, whatever you need.
We need
You
two
know.
new benches out there too. That one is rotten. We could get two new benches, that'd be
Talk
nice.
to this guy, tell him to put the list together, and then we'll start seeing what we can do to knock it off.
That's what I'll do. I heard
It's
about it 5
administration.
minutes ago. Give me a minute.
Yeah,
I,
remember-
yeah,
Um,
you're right.
Okay, Anything else, Brian? Again, I'll bring everybody up to speed here in a minute on the police department.
Yeah.
What's cooking? Questions? Mary?
Not a whole lot. About the 5K run, they need about 5 volunteers to help with the road closings, to, stand out there and make sure people know, where they need to go. So if anybody would like to volunteer, you need to be there, about 7:45. And if you will either email Craig or Officer Allen or Officer Wright, then, they can give you possibly which street you're gonna be working at, so you may just go directly there and I'll check in on the so if anybody would like to help out, that would be great. Starts at 8, they would like you at your post by 7:45. Along safety or any kind of.
No, I mean, this is kind of general discussion. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't have to have a
That's
full-blown.
pretty much, yeah,
Or
that's
something.
pretty much all
Hannah?
I have.
Okay.
I guess my only question, I'm sure you'll address it, is what's the status of the settlement with Chief Goodenough?
That would be more of an executive session, but yes, and we can do that, by all means. Goodness gracious, okay, go ahead.
Do want to make you all aware that in reference to nuisance code enforcement, we have started to get some complaints that are particular to the nuisance code and not necessarily code enforcement. We discussed previously updating our nuisance code, and that's kind of stalled out, and so that is one thing I think we need to focus on. Their administration is updating the nuisance code and making sure that we have several vegetation problems fully addressed in the nuisance code. Because right now our grass limit is a foot. I think that's a little tall. We need to cut. Yeah, it's a foot. So we need to bring that down. And then we can also take a look at perpetual offenders. There's some ordinances that are out there in some of the other cities like Fort Mitchell and Park Hills that have tougher penalties for people who repeatedly violate the nuisance code. And I think we can go ahead and adopt these, and these are different than the code enforcement items that NKAPC handles. So
Can you define where nuisance begins and code enforcement ends?
sure. NKAPC handles our zoning administration, so zoning code, building code administration, so anything with the International Property Maintenance Code or the state uniform building code. And they also handle floodplain administration for us. So they do basically those 3 things. And if we have something that comes up that is not particularly tagged to building code, uniform state building code, international property maintenance code, the zoning code, then it kind of falls out to some extent of what they do. Now, granted, those things, the zoning code, property maintenance code, and the building code cover about 95% of what we deal with.
But property maintenance, how does property maintenance differ from what you just said? Which is
Sure.
nuisance?
The only grass is a nuisance because it's taller than a foot. The property maintenance code deals with buildings, soffits, windows, foundations,
So anything
gutters.
that's growing is a nuisance?
Anything that falls under the nuisance code. There are some parts of the zoning code that do address outside storage, unsightly storage, and weeds. But when you start getting into particular styles of plantings or particular areas where it is unclear whether something is a grass or a weed, then the code enforcement section doesn't adequately deal with that problem.
How do we deal with the downspout ordinance that we just passed? Is that a nuisance or is that code enforcement?
We are actually still in discussions with NKAPC on that because that's a border, because it comes off the building. But it's not specifically addressed in the International Property Maintenance Code because we have a separate ordinance on that. It'll probably wind up being a combination. That particular ordinance will probably wind up being a combination.
Anytime
enforcement.
somebody says combination, it makes me think nobody's gonna enforce it.
Understand. We do need to appoint the appeals board that's gonna review potential waivers to that ordinance.
How does somebody get cited if they just go out and just do something that's clearly not allowed in that downspout ordinance? Who's the person or people that go out and say, hey, you got a problem here?
Sure. First thing we would do is we would ask NKPC if they would do that. And if they will not, then it would fall to the city to either have a police officer or an appointed nuisance code officer to do it.
Well, I think we better nail this down because it's gonna be an issue if we don't.
Yep. We've actually had a couple conversations about it. I have a little bit more thought to give it, but I believe I'm gonna ask one of our public works guys to become the nuisance officer for us. They're out there every day, they see it. It's been nice because one of the things that has been thrown out on the table is Northern Kentucky Area Planning has said, send them over, we'll work with them, help get them up to speed, they'll help train them, give them
You mean our guys?
our guys. So, I mean,
And
they've been really extremely helpful with
Will
that.
they receive a pay increase?
Don't know, I haven't got there yet.
How much time away will they be taken away from doing their jobs here in the city, because we only have 3?
I would only expect a couple hours a week, if that.
I think what
If
we're
that-
gonna find when we were talking with NKPC down there, I think we're gonna find that in the beginning, there's gonna be a lot to do, and then it's gonna taper off. As
Just like-
people, in fact, you know, Craig shares, did you share a story about somebody called, they were putting in a sprinkler system? Go ahead, you tell them.
no, I received a call from a vendor who provides, in-lawn sprinkler systems, and they had contacted NKPC to get a permit to find out what the rules were as far as, how to install their outlets and pipes and all that stuff. And NKPC basically said, you need to talk to the city. So they called, and I said, well, we have this ordinance on downspouts and drains, and because they initially said, can we put a pipe, right up and through the curb? And I was like, absolutely not. We have a new ordinance that says that. And then I pretty much sent them a PDF copy of the ordinance and said, here's our rules. And they're like, great, thank you so much. This is going to help us. We have to go back now to the client and totally redesign how we're going to design this because of these rules. So I mean, it does work. The system is starting to work.
We need to say so. Okay. Okay. Okay, okay, I lost a little word. Couple things I have, I don't know if everybody receives this or not, and I don't know how I received it on my phone, email, but I did. I'm just gonna read the email from the Chief Wint from an issue that happened today. You probably got it. I just thought it would be appropriate to go ahead and read it. This morning around 9:40 this a.m. On southbound I-75, a tractor trailer fuel tanking ruptured, spilling about 80 gallons of diesel fuel, spilling it across 3 or 4 lanes on the expressway. Our units, along with Kent County Emergency Management, Hazmat, and EPA and Kentucky Emergency Hazard Response Unit, spent 5 hours on the response. In an attempt to contain the fuel, we used 45 bags of oil absorbent and damaged 2 sets of structure firefighting gear. The gear, since it was soaked in diesel fuel, will need to be replaced, unfortunately. The trucking company will be billed for, I believe, everything. It says all man hours, yeah, I'm sorry, here we go. All man hours, 2 sets of gear, 45 bags of absorbent, and the cost of the environmental cleanup. Estimated about $3,200. I don't think it's a major deal, but just as an FYI, in case you hear something, so the pass-through will be the cost up front will be on us or the fire authority, but it will be billed back out for that. Again, more of an FYI. Let's see. We are presently in the process of doing a background check on 2 part-time employees for the police department. That is going fine. We just got the credit checks and stuff like that, I mean, we do a whole, complex of it. Some of the officers are doing the actual background checks. So, once we get to a point where I can bring them forward, I will, but that is moving forward.
Do you have a timing on this?
As soon as they get the background checks, I'm ready to bring them on board, to be honest
Are you
with you.
looking at a week or are you looking at a
I
month?
would say a couple weeks more. I would say they've had it 2 weeks now,
Yeah.
about 2 weeks, so, yeah,
For background checks?
yeah.
Oh.
Believe it or not, they actually, on a full-blown background check, even for a part-time officer,
Yeah,
for example.
Curious.
Oh, no, it's good, because, I mean, Jim will tell you, we had a candidate down in Pikeville once, and what that requires is somebody going, actually paying a visit to their home.
Yeah.
Paying a visit, I mean, so they do a pretty extensive background check, it's, and it's a good thing, but,
Yeah.
so it takes a lot longer than, you think, get on the computer and shoot one out. So, and, they go to talk to different, I think they might even talk to neighbors for all I know. And I don't know how detailed, but it's pretty extensive. So, a couple more weeks, hopefully we'll have it done, so then we can make some decisions on the offers that we have out at this point.
There's also a whole series of state administered tests that have to be given, like suitability tests.
That's separate from the background, correct?
No, it's a part of.
Oh, okay.
It's part of, and the state has rules that you can, that you have to do them in a certain order,
Yeah.
and you always can't schedule them all on the same day, and so
Right.
that kind of stretches out, stretches that out a
Lie
little bit as
detector
well.
test.
Yeah, things like that.
So, but as soon as we can get them done, by all means, that's the goal.
Yeah, I just think it's good for people to know.
No, that's a great question. You don't think about how much really actually goes into
Goes
it.
into it, yeah.
Right. And as Brian asked as well, the deadline for the applicants for the chief's position was yesterday at 5 o'clock. I believe was the correct date, it was the 8th. I was informed today that we had 25, possibly, I think it was 24, maybe 25. There was one sent email, one back, but we had about 25 candidates. The ad has already went through those and prepared a tier 1 of applicants, the first round. I probably will see those in the next couple of days. Out of those, then we will decide how many of those we will bring up front to be interviewed. I will ask the interviewing board to go ahead and review those as well and give me their input. And again, I think everybody got the email. The interviewing for the first round from the board member, from that process will be Police Chief Mike Daly from Fort Thomas, Police Chief Spike Jones from Covington. I've asked Gary Edmondson, the Kenton County Attorney, and myself, as well as someone from the ad. We'll go through the first round. After the first round, and then I would like to involve more people in our city. Maybe even an officer, council, resident or two, maybe. I haven't really got to that point yet, but, so, hoping to see some interviews set up for next Tuesday or Wednesday, see how everybody's schedule goes, but, again, we want to move this along as quickly as we can to make sure that we get the position filled. So, does that help answer your questions that you were going to
It does.
fire at me? Let's see, I think everything else has been covered. Jim mentioned the auditor's report. There was a response sent to the auditor's report. We'll get that out to the actual auditor. I think we sent you a draft of it originally, didn't we, a while back?
I thought it was sent.
Yeah,
It's been sent, yes. I didn't know what time frame you got that copy, that's all.
February 26th.
Please?
February 26th.
No, that was actually for your review.
I thought it was sent out.
No, I thought we asked you to review it to make sure that you were okay with it.
Okay.
Hopefully you're okay with it because it finally got sent out. We,
Yeah.
as well as what we also did with it, we asked John Chamberlain to give it a review, our city auditor. Does this look like a response that you would, and he said it was exactly what he thought the response would be to an state auditor's report. So I think there was a few wordsmiths and it changed around a little bit, but for the most part, we'll get that copy out to everybody as well.
That'd be great.
That will,
Yeah, I think we need to address that at the council meeting when it's on its
I will bring it up then.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I
I'll
think
put it
we
in
need
the
to
packet.
go bullet by bullet. We kept saying we were gonna do that. I think this
Mhm.
time we do it.
Yep. Jim has
So
asked
that people know
what we've
got,
done or what we've
yeah,
done.
we've got some,
At the council meeting, I also asked to have the update on where we are in back taxes and stuff, if I can ask Craig to make sure that we have that. I've already asked Kyle to have the city attorney's office give us an update on where we are on all the back taxes that they're going after the amnesty program. I think it would be good to know. Craig could probably give us a pretty good feel, but we have received several people come in after the amnesty program and pay, as well as we've got a couple residents that are making monthly installments. And it's supposed to be monthly, but they're, at this point, every other month, but they're still coming in. So that's all we're asking is to hold people accountable for their taxes and stuff like that. So that's still going forward. We're still collecting our back taxes and some of them, you know, it's a slow process for some, but let's see. I don't think I have anything else with the exception, probably an executive session that I think would be appropriate, just a roundtable for a few minutes. I know that Kyle won't have a lot of details, but at least we will be able to talk about some other things in that we will be able to bring up to speed on, that I think I can help with a little bit. An executive session / discussions about pending or threatened litigation pursuant to KRS 61.810, parentheses C.
move to go into executive
I have a
session.
motion to go into executive session. I have a second. All in favor? Thank you. And folks, when we come back, we will be done, just so you know, if we don't have any other business to take care of. So, Jim?